Evan, I can see you here. All right, guys, if we want to get started with Coach Bolt, sorry for the delay there. We'll get started going with Chris Bassinet. You have any questions?
Hey, Will, I guess, what'd you see out of your guys over the weekend there to wrap that series up and find a way to get it done? I know you talk about that a lot, but it just seemed like kind of another example of your guys, just kind of finding a way there.
Yeah, particularly on Sunday, we didn't get off to a great start. Obviously, I mean, we're chasing runs from the first inning again, and I didn't feel necessarily offensively. I thought their starting pitcher did a really good job first time through the order against our guys. Some competitive spots where he was able to come out on top, but I really thought the last 6 innings of the game, we were really much more dialed in offensively. No panic whatsoever in the dugout as far as whether we were going to have a shot to come back or not. We just realized that, hey, we got 6 innings left. If we want it, we got to go get it. And I feel like we got a nice hold out of the bullpen with Cody Frank, and the offense just gave the offense a chance to get us back in the game. And you can't necessarily always rely on the 7-run inning on Sunday. I think we've done that twice now to win series, but again, you just got to find a way to get it done, and this team up to this point has showed that we can get it done in a variety of different ways.
I know you mentioned the guys didn't panic. Have you ever seen that out of them at all? Any nervous moments out of them or any panic out of them, or has it kind of been pretty steady all year?
No, it's been pretty steady. I think they realize that when we do what we need to do offensively, 1 through 9 in the order, that we're going to be a tough team to hold back for 9 full innings. Feel like we're going to take care of the baseball defensively. As long as we can kind of keep the momentum in our dugout by having some quick innings out there on the mound and on defense and get back in the dugout, I think our guys have a ton of confidence that we've got the type of lineup that can put together some rallies. Whether it's the first inning, the fourth inning, I mean, we've seen early scoring, we've seen scoring in the middle innings, and we've seen scoring in the late innings. So I think that's just, again, that's a good sign for a good team. And I always go back to our leadership, the guys that are on the field and in the fight there, and they don't blink at all. We just have a ton of great leaders and guys that have been around and really care, and they don't make it more than it is. They just go out and compete.
Evan Bland.
Hey, Will, I just wanted to ask you a little bit about Cade Povich and what his role maybe has been even off the field as a guy who has the experience, who's been with the team a couple of years. What do you see from him kind of behind the scenes as he's helping not just himself, but the other younger guys? And how much has he earned your guys' trust to start some of the bigger games here this season?
Yeah, Cade, the way I would describe Cade is he works like a professional. He's very diligent in every area of his life to get himself the best opportunity to have success on Fridays when we give him the ball. I mean, it's just from a nutrition standpoint, from a strength and conditioning standpoint, from an arm care, the way he plays catch, the way he can execute his bullpens. He understands that it's not just going to show up for you. Even though he has talent, it doesn't just show up for you if you don't put the work in. And I think that's something that a lot of the guys look to him and just see how he goes about his business. And he's not a real vocal guy, but he will certainly help out younger guys if they have questions. But I think he's just a guy that you can just watch him and the way he goes about it in every area of his life. And he's going to be very, very prepared for his start each week. And that's just something that you got to have as a starting pitcher. If you want to be a starting pitcher and you want to have the level of consistency that he's shown, you've got to be consistent. You've got to have a foundation with which you go to week in and week out. And that's what Cade's able to do. He's able to just put everything he's got into each week. And he's got talent. He's got the work ethic, and when you have those two things, and he's very competitive when he gets the ball. He doesn't get rattled very easily. He's not going to be worried about what the strike zone looks like or the opposing team's lineup or anything like that. He's just going to go do what he does, and he's going to go trust his stuff. But again, you can't do that if you don't have that foundation week in and week out that you've laid out for yourself and that you stand for. And Cade is all about all those things, and that's what allows him a chance to be successful. And that's what's taken him from being a guy that was 80-83 in high school, that took a chance and bet on himself to go to junior college, go be an All-American there, and then found himself at the top of our rotation on a good team and with an opportunity to, have a good professional career at this point.
What do you remember about his recruiting process coming to Nebraska? Because I know you guys were hired as a staff, and then he was here just a couple weeks later. What did you identify in him, and how did that come together so quickly?
Yeah, it was one of those things. He was on our radar at Texas A&M, just seeing his stats, what he did at South Mountain, 10 wins, low ERA. Knew he was from the Omaha area, and he'd kind of been on our radar. So when I got this job, I looked at our roster and said we need some starting pitching, and he was the first call we made. I think Coach Arvell may have reached out to him. I think he was actually at a College World Series game with his family when we called him, and he was pretty fired up, and the rest is history. We had him on campus, I don't know, within the next 10 days probably, and he committed the day of, and it's one of those things where it had happened. He was on our radar before at a prior place, and knew about him, and were able to get the job done quick.
Cole Peterson.
Hey, Coach. Focusing on Kamchick kind of specifically, he's been a guy in recent games come up with some big hits for you guys. I guess, what do you like most about him, and how has he kind of grown his game throughout the season to really become a mainstay here in that cleanup spot?
Yeah, it's been fun to watch him mature as a hitter as well. What I love about his game is that he can beat you in a bunch of different ways. He's one of the faster guys on our roster, so he can steal a base. He gets down the line in 4 flat, which is well above average. What he's doing a better job of is he's using a big part of the field, and that's where your RBI come from, is being able to use the middle of the field, particularly in big spots where you're going to get the pitcher's best pitches, and you're getting those, especially in the 4-hole. You got to be able to handle the off-speed pitches. You got to be able to get to his best fastball. That's the thing about Cam. He's always been a guy that he could get to anybody's fastball. I mean, he's going to turn around 97, but where he's really matured is just the ability to handle the off-speed pitches. And, when you do that, he's a guy with short arms, and he can cover the other side of the plate, so it's hard to get in on him as well. So he's got both sides of the plate covered now, and now he's able to handle not just the fastball, but the off-speed pitches as well. And when you do that, you can become a run producer. And a guy like him, even though it's maybe a little bit of a smaller package, he's got pound for pound probably the best juice on our team. So great skill set, great competitor, great teammate, just a guy that brings a lot of energy to the field and just sparks us in a lot of different ways.
Kevin Seuss.
Hey, well, you guys are 18 games in, and you're atop the conference standings all alone this week. And I know a week ago you talked about how you felt like you had a good team before the season started, but seeing your name at the top as you get kind of near the midway point of the season, what's your team's reaction to that?
No change whatsoever. I think, again, you ask our group of guys, I mean, it's not something as unexpected. We feel like we had a team before the season started that was going to have a chance to be a good team. And they're the same guys every day. I mean, it really is. It's a fun group of guys to coach because as our coaching staff, we don't really have to worry about managing emotions and egos and, just day-to-day hoping that you have a team that shows up ready to compete. I mean, these guys have been totally selfless, totally bought into the team aspect of it. They care a ton about each other. They care a ton about Nebraska baseball, and they're good. I mean, we have some talent. I mean, there's some talent on the roster up and down. There's talented veterans. There's talented fifth-year guys that have come back and really transformed their games. We have a ton of talented freshmen that have been in there and played really well for us. So you have those ingredients on a team that is selfless, that does care about the team, that shows up to work hard every day, that has talent as well. I mean, you're going to have a chance to win games. And we've, we just got to keep it going. I mean, we just got to keep showing up. And that's what I tell the team every day. That's what I remind them each day when they come to practice. Like, just keep stacking days. Just keep showing up. Just keep competing as hard as you can today. Let's do it, and we'll finish it off, and then we'll do it again tomorrow. And we do that on Tuesday practices. We do it on Friday nights, and we do it on Sundays. So you just trying to find that level of consistency from a mentality standpoint. It's been good so far, and we just got to keep it going.
When did you get a good handle on that talent level, Will? Was it at the end of last season or when the season shut down? Was it during fall, maybe the start of this year? Could you identify kind of a moment where you said, we got a pretty good squad?
Well, I think you can go all the way back to probably the first scrimmage of the fall when we had all the live stream, and you could just see we had some freshmen show up and play really well. I mean, they knew that there were 30,000 people or whatever it was that were watching the live stream, and didn't change their game at all. I mean, and then you started kind of going, okay, well, we're better on the mound. Look, we got multiple guys now that throw low, sometimes mid-90s, which we certainly didn't have before. Looks like we got more strike throwers. Man, look at our defenders. Like, these guys are athletic and versatile. They can play different positions, and you move a guy like Hallmark, who was I feel like still could be an amazing second baseman for us, but changes the dynamic a little bit out in the outfield with his speed and the way he's really bought into his role offensively. So, yeah, I think you probably go all the way back to the fall where we, on paper it looks good, but then you have that kind of that first fall scrimmage where it's live streamed and guys kind of show up and they pop and you go, man, those guys are pretty good athletes and they're pretty competitive, and we can have some versatility there. So I think it probably you can go all the way back to the fall, and again, you can talk about belief all you want on a team, but these guys they're not stupid. They look around and they know if you have talent or not on the team and whether you can go compete with the best. And I think these guys saw it right away that they felt like they could look around the locker room and go, well, he's good. He's got a shot. Yeah, this guy can help us. So that I think you can go all the way back to the fall and probably start to see some of those things.
All right, last one, back to Evan Bland.
Will, do you keep the same rotation this weekend, or is there any change there?
No changes to the rotation. We'll be the same order, same guys.
I was just going to ask quick, with Maryland coming in, what's in general the best approach as an offense when you're facing a number of pitchers that strike out batters at the rate that they do with a lot of swing and miss stuff? Just generally speaking, what's that approach against guys like that?
Yeah, I mean, you got to get them. You got to get them early. Especially a good arm. You've got to. I sound like a broken record a little bit when it comes to it, but you got to be on time. You got to be on time to his best fastball in the first inning, and you got to grind out your at bats, and you've got to you got to set up enough innings with walks, hit by pitch, bunt base hits. Battle with two strikes, just get jammed and flare a ball in, and then hopefully you can get a big swing there when you maybe pop a double or a home run. So against really good arms, it's a lot to ask to string together 10, 12, 15, 16 hits and maybe 2 or 3 in one inning. So you got to, again, that's where some of those grit plays come into play there, where it's like, hey, you got to win your 3-2 count. You got to take your walk. You've got to, lay you down your bunt. You got a chance to go first to third on a single. You got to do it. You got to set up an inning to where you got a runner at third with less than 2 outs and fill back, hit a ground ball to short, you get a run. Sometimes you got to manufacture a little bit more against a really good arm. And Maryland, I think they've got top to bottom, probably, if not the best, one of the best rosters in terms of just pure talent on the mound, their athleticism on defense and offensively. They've got guys that they can bop, they can steal bases, they can bunt for a hit. They're a very, very talented team, and they're very, very well coached.
Okay, guys, that's it for Coach Bolt. We'll have Max Anderson here in a second.